Welcome to the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 show to bring you all things Club America in English.
Oh, what a strike! Club America!
Your hosts for today are Ivan Pineda, Cristian Rosendo, Alexis Juarez, and everyone's favorite cowboy, Dylan Jimenez. Go! Now let's hit the field and start the show. America!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Eagle Eye Podcast. Today, plenty of stuff to talk about. Of course, we got that terrible 1-0 loss against Monterrey to recap. We have transfer news and whether or not there's a certain Rojas coming to America. Christian will have more information on that. And then, of course, we're going to be previewing everything coming up against Juarez at home for Saturday's matchup. But before I get any further into today's episode, let me introduce my co-host today, none other than Brooklyn's very own AJ and New York's favorite resident, Cristian Rosendo. Gentlemen, how are we this fine evening?
Doing pretty good. Had a busy day today. Had to write some articles regarding the New York Red Bulls and the MX Fenin, but all in all, I'm doing pretty good.
All right, busy man. I like it. Staying busy. Christian.
I just lost $100 today on parlay, so I'm not doing too well.
I saw you because I was watching. Obviously, if you guys don't know, I'm a Lakers fan, but I was watching the Lakers game last night, and of course, like any true Laker fan, very disappointed at the end result.
Dude, listen,
and,
hold on. For everyone watching, for everyone freaking watching right now, dude, I had the Lakers at -5, up 19. I was like, okay, you know what? This game should cover. I think I'm good. I'll win some money tonight, and then next thing I know, they're up 10. It's all right. Up 7, up 6. Up 4. Okay, I'm getting a little worried now. And all of a sudden, the score flips on his head, and I lost.
There you go. Well, Christian's not having the best of parlays this year. Of course, whenever is he? But don't worry, man. I'm pretty sure the next one's gonna hit. I'm sorry that my Lakers let you down, but hey. If America let you down, then you should have known already that the Lakers would have as well.
Yeah,
but we're not here to discuss Lakers. That's our other podcast. Join us on Wednesday nights for when we talk all things Lakers here on the EY podcast. But we're here to discuss Las Águilas del América, and of course that terrible defeat against Monterrey, and the lacklustrous of a game that it really was. We'll get into that a little bit more later. Christian, I know you have a little bit more of transfer news and updates going on in and around the world of America. Ibarwen may be gone. Maybe, potentially. Well, you'll tell us more about that later. And some FC Juarez stuff as well. But before we do start the show, I do want to start with a little bit of a heavy heart. One of our longtime listeners and longtime viewers, Mr. Chris Rivera, as unfortunately his grandfather has passed away, and our deepest condolences are with him and his family at the moment. We know that it's a hard time for him. It's a hard time for a lot of us right now, and we just wanted to extend that that comfort to him and his family, because we know that he watches us and everything. And brother, we're with you, and if we can help in any way, please let us know. And also, with even more of a burdening, sad news, the club has lost quite a legend. Sage's dad, Mr. Papa Sage, has unfortunately passed away as well. Today, it was announced via Sage that he had passed away as well. Had a tremendous career in Las Águilas del América. And whilst maybe me, you, and whoever's listening to this right now maybe don't really remember him or really would rate him as a legend because we didn't see him. The stats show for it. The history of the club definitely shows for it. And he definitely will be missed. But okay, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to start on a little bit of a Debbie Downer, but we'll gradually work our way up. Let's talk America versus Monterrey. If we want to talk more downers here. This wasn't the game that we definitely expected by any means necessary. This was a matchup where we went a little bit more excited of two potential giants going at it and trading blows for blow. And we really just got a very stalemate match in the midfield, and a Monterrey side that definitely held the ball more, but I think it was because America wanted them to hold the ball more. Christian, we went from going from a 4-3-3 against Atlético San Luis, where we just saw wingers be as pacey and as attacking as possible, to then going back and falling into the 4-4-2, and nothing really actually panning out for us. What was the most frustrating thing about this loss against Monterrey?
There was a couple of things, and I'll just start off saying that I think Solari got this game wrong. I think that he respected Monterrey way too much. There was moments in the game where I felt like he should have been a little bit more aggressive. And to be honest, his way of attacking didn't really, really hurt Monterrey. It didn't have him flustered, didn't have him confused. It was actually quite easy to defend it. They when they went on when they were defending, they brought almost 10 people back behind the ball. And what America tried to do is get Cordova and Leo to kind of pinch into the middle and kind of let Fuentes and Sanchez go up. Unfortunately, though, when they did that, they couldn't find any exit through Fuentes and Sanchez because Monterrey kind of already knew that was their plan since Cordova and Suarez were pinching in so much. Suarez, when he pinches in like that, kind of in the midfield area, doesn't really do much either way. So it was easy to contain him. Just kind of just have a player on the near the touchline, so Sanchez can't go up. And it really just stops the attack there. And just seeing that a lot throughout the game kind of made me wonder, why didn't he go back to the 4-3-3? I felt like we have a little bit more, I guess, idea of how to play that. I don't know. It also seemed like they weren't the right players at the right time for this game. I don't think the subs, he got it right as well. And there's just a lot of players right now who are not in good form that need to be in form. Cordova, Henry, Venus, to name a few. And these players need to start performing because Solari can't implement his ideas if his top players aren't performing.
No, yeah, I completely agree with you. AJ, just kind of maybe reminiscing of what Christian just mentioned right now. Anything to add on top of that?
No, not really. Just disappointing. Really lackluster from this America side. Really boring game in all honesty, in my opinion. The only exciting thing was just that penalty but even that's a whole nother thing to talk about later. But just everyone just underperformed, really. The standout player at the B would be Santiago Naveda. I'd say he was the best player on that entire pitch. Everyone else, non-existent. He was just ghosts on the field.
I agree with you, and let's talk a little bit more about the game as a whole and the team in general, because I think there's some very key elements to point out. You say something about that. I know that another person that had a really good game was George Sanchez. We'll talk maybe a little bit more about their good performances and maybe talk a little bit about the players that didn't have a good game. And you thought with this formation and the way that you were explaining the tactics, Christian, would have an impact on this game, but unfortunately did not. Jose Sepulveda saying, let's face it, half of the team sucks. I think that's up to everyone to decide whether or not that is actual factual or not. But I would say this: at least more than half of the team underperformed in this match, which I think was the most worrisome thing about this. Look, we know that Monterrey is not a place we want to go to. It's definitely, I don't know if it's hexed. If as soon as we enter the building, something terribly goes wrong. Always. There's two things that are guaranteed when you go into that stadium. You're going to get a penalty that maybe shouldn't have been a penalty, and you're going to get a red card that probably should have never been a red card. Mm-hmm. And we got both, as always. So we ended up going home with the usual. And I think that's the most frustrating thing about it is that we can't seem to wipe the ghost of games past when it comes to these Monterrey sides. It's not to say that we were robbed in any way, because I don't think America deserved the victory. I don't think any of us can sit here and say that we deserved all 3 points. Maybe a draw would have been fair enough, but still, that's a stretch. I feel like Monterrey were the better side. I don't know if you guys can agree to that.
I felt they had better ball movement. I wouldn't necessarily say if they were that much of a better side. I do think Monterrey as well respected America too much as well. There were moments in time where their game felt very stale, and at that point, I think America should have been a little bit more aggressive with their attack. Unfortunately, though, they just didn't pull the trigger, and then I don't know. I just Monterrey kind of had their way a little bit. But if you want to say, I think it was like 55-45 Monterrey.
Yeah, I think they nearly edged us, because like you mentioned, Christian, they did look the more better side, comfortable with the ball, right? I think you and I were having the discussion throughout halftime is that the players looked very much timid. They looked very scared to make passes at time. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that was very much frustrating my dad the whole game, because he would not stop telling me about it, was the fact that whenever they received the ball, there was always an inward movement. There was never so much an outward towards the goal. It was always, all right, let's kind of go and push back a little bit. Let's play it on the safe side. And I think that was the most frustrating thing about it, because we were used to seeing that under Piojo, right? It was always, if you didn't have clear space, it was always pass the ball back, reset, try to find an open space after that. And with Solari against Atletico San Luis, it was like, okay, you received the ball, you took players on, you were very much head first, and you had a direction towards goal. This was very much, instead of taking one step forward, I think we took 2 steps back in this match.
No, definitely. And also, the problem with that, also, sorry to cut you off there. The problem also is when you have kind of Leo Suarez and Cordova trying to initiate plays like that, it's not going to work most of the time. There aren't players. Those two aren't the players to be initiating an attack like that. You need someone like Benedetti or Richard Sanchez to be the ones to initiate that. And when Leo Suarez has the ball on the wing and you make him go inward into a confined space, he's not going to do much because he doesn't really have that ability. He likes the more open space, trying to dribble one, outpace someone. That's his style. The one-on-ones. He can't go inward and try to place a nice pass to someone because that's not what he does. And you limit him, you limit Cordova, and it's just the same thing over and over again. So if you want to play that, that's fine, but have the players in there to kind of, help you out with that idea. And you had players on the bench to do it. You had a Gio, you had a Benedetti to do it. It's just, you just didn't have the right players on the pitch to kind of execute.
Yeah, I think he opted off for the wrong formation. And look, I think this is an interesting thing that Chris puts up. He's like, honestly, I feel like Adame influenced the lineup. I don't think Solari knows the league well enough to respect someone like Monterrey. So maybe he has a point right there because this was very much a question that we all had. And I think, Christian, I mentioned to you, I was like, well, I thought we were going with this 4-4-3. We're just going to kind of keep rolling with it. And obviously, under a new manager and a new play style system, you would imagine that, okay, we have a consistent formation, maybe not a lineup, but a consistent formation that the players can get used to and adapt to.
I feel like also, I think that Pedro Aquino was kind of penciled in for this game. And, when he went down, I think also Solari kind of just took a step back and said, okay, listen, you know what? We're going to put in Naveda, but, he also needs a little bit of support, which is why I also think Richard had a little bit of an off game as well, because I think his job was kind of to help Naveda out a little bit, not really go up too much. So I think also that's what happened as well.
Yeah, I think
for the 4-4-2 instead of the 4-3-3.
Yeah, I think if Pedro Aquino plays, we see the 4-3-3.
Yeah.
Because it just made no sense to kind of just completely erase what you did in the first game, which everyone was talking very highly of you. It's not just us that were speaking very well of it. I mean, there was, people in the media, people like in, ESPN, Tudena, they were talking greatly about how America played in the first game against San Luis and how much more of a direct football it was in comparison to Piojo Herrera. You kind of take 2 steps back, being like, okay, we're going to play 4-4-2, play a little bit more conservative. But I get it. You're right, Christian. At the same time, you also have to take to consideration that you're having a very young, inexperienced player going up against probably, one of the title contenders for this year. So, of course, maybe you have to play it to some extent a little bit safe. Let's just read a bit more about the comments to see.
Sure.
He's like, Ramon Acosta saying, I'm worried about Viñas. He seems off. And I think that's something Ainge has mentioned from time to time. And we'll get to that a little bit later because I do want to talk about Viñas and Henry up top, which I think just did not do anything for my liking whatsoever. Look, Cordova is so inconsistent. It's exasperating. And I think that's the correct word to use at this point. Ramon Acosta, again, saying that. Jose Sepúlveda saying, se le acabó el pólvoro al Viñas. Maybe he wasn't as good as everyone thought, question mark. I think he is. And he could be better. But
he could be better. There was a rumor going around. I don't know how 100% this is true. I mean, we could talk about it. I think AJ would have a little bit more to say about this. Suppose the rumor was when Viñas got COVID, supposing he didn't recover at 100%, and he's still feeling effects from the virus. Now, I wouldn't really know how much it could affect him, and I know it affects people long term. So I don't know if this is what Viñas is going through. But it was a rumor that I saw, and it seemed that it was backed by a reliable reporter as well. But if that's the case, then where do you go from here?
Dr. AJ, give us your professional medical inquiry on this.
It's just having to just give the all time for them to just get themselves accustomed, but at the same time, this is COVID. It's going to affect the lungs. You're no longer going to feel the same way as you were pre-COVID. So in this case, you may not have the stamina you used to have. The strength, some of that strength could just be zapped off completely. You see from time to time again in games, we sub Viñas off where he doesn't even last a full 90 minutes or anything. He just starts on the bench. It's one of those things, it's like it zaps out some of the athleticism for you. Yes, you could come back. Would you be the same? Probably not. And as we're learning more about COVID, we just learn about new things every single day. And for athletes like this, it's really tough on them to the point where they cannot handle the full 90 minutes anymore, where Bean just has to get subbed off. And that's kind of scary, which I could see to maybe why these past couple of games, he has not been 100%. Sure, the could come in play, but you could think of that thing too. When he got COVID, is that a possible reason to why he lost some of that explosive that we saw in him before? Remember, he has not scored since October. He's going through a drought right now, which is a scary thing to also just hear about as well. Maybe something just, give Ian the break, even though we're just starting the season out, but at the same time, run some tests on him, check to see, how his respiration rate is going, what's going on. Is he able to output a lot of oxygen to be able to do things he needs to do out on the pitch? But that's one thing for the fitness team for them to figure out, see what's wrong with Venus. If COVID really did impact them, you could always run tests to see how these players are.
No, definitely. And let's just say they run those tests, and then let's just run that, or just kill it right here that COVID isn't the reason. Everything's fine. He's 100%. Even before he had COVID, he was still in a little bit of an off form, and we all said, you know what, just take some time. Every striker goes through a drought. It's not something that's abnormal. It's not something that's we need to worry about. So if he was in a drought pre-COVID, he got COVID, whatever, he's 100% still, and he's still having this drought. What's the matter with him? Is it just he needs to just get a goal and then he'll go back to his normal self, or is it just we're not playing for him, or maybe the tactics aren't really favoring him?
I think maybe you hit it on the head right there, Christian. I really want to call it a sophomore slump. Really, at this point, I think that he hit the ground off running so well, and at that level, especially at America, it's so hard to be that consistent, and we know that it is, because how many players can we name off the top? If I tell you, name me 10 strikers that you've seen play in America that have been consistent throughout their time at America, I promise you, it's hard to fill those 5, let alone all those 10. So I feel like with Viñas, he's still young. He still has so much more room to grow. And I don't think he's ever had this kind of expectation of I have to be week in and week out. Also, I don't think he's also ever dealt with, man, I'm playing an X amount of games without really much of a rest period, because if I'm not playing for my club, I'm playing for my youth national team. If I'm not playing for my youth national team, I'm back with my club. So I think it's a constant kind of having to go at it, not having a real proper break. That I think maybe is exhausting him a little bit. I do think that sometimes the tactics don't really favor him as well. Again, look, I'm not trying to put up excuses for Viñas, because I know some people will say, well, I mean, you don't put these excuses for Cordoba either, which I get it, but they're not really much excuses as much as what I'm trying to see here. But I do think that Viñas definitely has to have a much more bigger impact, because he's shown us what he's capable of doing, but at the same time, consistency is the key to anything in life, not just the sport, but just anything. So
we're not hitting the panic button just yet.
No, I don't think so. I think it's too early in Solari's era. I think we really have to give it halfway through the season to see, okay, we know what players are for Solari and what players aren't.
No, definitely.
So but it's a really good comment there, because Viñas did not have a really good game. Let's talk about other players that maybe didn't have a good game, because I think the game overall as a whole really was hinging on some players coming up pretty big for us. The defense. We knew that the defense had to be as tight and as rock solid as possible. And 2 of the center backs that we had on the night, which was Ramon Juarez and Sebastián Cáceres, did not look as solid as we expected them to. Ramon Juarez almost looked like he was going to get chewed alive.
No, I know. Aiden, this is your boy. It was a very tall task of him to kind of encounter. And honestly, I don't think he was up for it. There were a lot of people on Twitter trying to defend him and stuff like that. For the penalty or whatever. I'm not gonna say it was entirely his fault. But just penalty aside, though, throughout the whole game, he was getting out positioned. He was getting beat on runs. He was making mistimed tackles. His passing wasn't clear cut. I think the nerves got to him. I didn't think he was ready for that match. And AJ, this is your boy, man. So talk to me more about him. What happened?
my man, he wasn't no Paolo Maldini that night. He was just Ramon Juarez. It's tough. It's a tough task, especially when you're playing against a team that's in contention for being winners in this league. So it's a big task you got to live up to, especially when you're starting more now frequently, when you're not having Emma Aguilera there taking your spot. You got to do a lot to fill in to do what you got to do in that spot. It's essentially it's just testing him to see, okay, let's see what he can do in this game. Is he the defender that Suarez like, this is what I want and my defense can use? Mm-hmm. It's only his second game. It's only the second game of the season. He's starting, but he was like you say, he was getting chewed out alive, especially with that offense that Monterrey have. It's really scary for any kind of defense to face against. Like, not even just mentioning like just Juarez, like Fuentes, Cáceres, Jorge Sanchez. They were just having an overall really tough time. But Ramon Juarez, it's difficult. At the same time, we're implementing canteranos from Fuerzas Básicas into this team. We're trying to get more of our youngsters in here. I can understand where the complaint's coming from, but at the same time, it's like we're going to try to use youngsters that we see that have potential into the squad that could break into the first team. That's what you're going to expect from them. They're not going to be some play that's amazing from Básicas, and they could just replicate that from the first team. Because remember, you're playing against various age groups. That can have a factor. When you're playing in Fuerzas Básicas, you're kind of playing players in the same age around you, pretty much. So you know how it's like when you're playing against like veterans who have been playing the game way longer than you have. You're gonna learn a thing or two, and I feel like for Juarez, this is a learning lesson for him. He needs to take notes down, watch replays of the match, and see where he did wrong. But this was a game that he would like to forget, but at the same time, take this in as a learning experience.
No, definitely, and I also think Solari kind of sent a message when he brought in Aguilera for Ramon Juarez as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
but look, I'm not to say that we shouldn't criticize this young guy, because we should, because I think criticism eventually will evolve him into a better defender.
Mm-hmm.
But there's promising stuff. I think I like the fact that he doesn't shy away from a challenge.
No, definitely.
And he's willing to go toe to toe. I mean, you saw him trying to bully Funes Mori around. And not every young center back is willing to go toe-to-toe with that man and say, you know what, I'm going to bully you throughout the whole 90 minutes. And I think that's noteworthy. Of course, he still has so much more to develop. And if we continuously give him playing time, I can see him being the center back with Bruno Valdez.
Could be. I just think Cáceres needs to just keep on going, keep on doing his thing, because for right now, for me, it's still up in the air who is going to be Bruno's partner when he comes back.
Mm-hmm.
Aguilera right now will try to make his case after his injury, and we'll see what happens there. For those who don't know, Aguilera actually renewed a contract for 1 more year with us, so we have him until the end of this year, end of December. So he has that much time to kind of prove to America that he deserves more time here, and in this short 2-month stint right now with Sebastián Cáceres, I think they're gonna duel it out to see who's gonna be Bruno's partner. So it's gonna be interesting, and hopefully, this kind of just gives us better defense overall, since it's gonna be an internal competition between the three. That being said, though, we still don't have an answer for our left back, and Luis Fuentes, I think also, while I think he didn't have the worst game, there were just moments in this game where it could have cost us a lot, and I think his ability to go up is not being shown, and we need someone that can do both ways with under Solari.
You know what? You mentioned that when we first started previewing the season for America, you mentioned that Solari likes to push his fullbacks high, right? And I don't think Fuentes has the tracking capability to push high and then drop back fast enough. So yeah, you're right. We need a left back ASAP. Mm-hmm. And the transfer window isn't closed. And could we potentially see a left back come in? Of course. I mean, anything's possible in this world. But I don't think we'll get a left back until summer. And that might be our weak link throughout the whole season. And that worries me.
No, it could be. But like you said, though, the window's not over yet. We still got to see a couple of moves kind of pan out, hopefully, in the next couple of actual days. And then we can go from there. But definitely, though, there's just so a lot of things right now that's not good with the squad. That hopefully within with time it'll get better. Another player I think that we need to mention, Cowboys area player Henry Martin. I don't know. I just think he wasn't really, that good this game. There was just moments in this
He
game
was
where
mobile. I mean, that's pretty much it.
yes, I understand that, and that's good in a player. That's good for a player to do. But when you're misplacing passes and you're not making runs and you're not opening up for other people, sometimes you're not being a help right now. And I don't know. This is something that's got to change for me because I think for me, Henry should be the leader of this team, one of them at least. And on the offense, and right now he's not really acting like one.
This is a big year for Henry. And I say that because Gold Cup is coming up. And the potential to go and be that striker for the Mexican national team in the Olympics is right up in the air as well. So this is a huge year for Henry to try to prove himself for Tata Martino. And so I'm with you there, Christian. I do see that it hasn't been a good opening for Henry, right? We know that Henry can be streaky. If he can bag himself a goal or two, then we know that confidence is going to drive him to keep going, keep pushing, and the sky's the limit for Henry at that point.
No, definitely.
But you're right. I don't know. He hasn't really taken up that role, and I don't know if there's a sense of urgency within him to try to kind of reach those levels. It's interesting. It really is. But you're right, Christian. It was frustrating. This game was just frustrating overall to see America play the way that they did. I'm not to say that anyone really escapes this. Maybe like we mentioned, George or Santi. But
let's talk about it. I think Jorge Sanchez had one of his best games in recent times. I think he was very precise on his tackling. His passing was pretty well. I think he pushed up at the correct moments. And his defending, I think he defended well.
Definitely, AJ. It seems like George was playing like if he was having like a European team looking at him, huh? Like if a certain Real Betis was keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, no, it's really exciting to see, and it's crazy enough to see that Jorge Sanchez is having one of the best games of his life against a team that essentially kind of tainted his career and what would haunt him for a long time. It might still now, but he's trying to leave that in the past, which is really good just to see from Jorge Sanchez. Like Christian saying, he was really going to attack, passing. Eric, he was going all out on that game, trying his very best to get himself involved into the attacks. And when it came to defending, he was key. He got a yellow card, but that's what it is in defending at times. You're going to have to take the yellow card and proceed about with your day in defending, but just played really well. Like along with Santi Navera, he was one of the best players on that page.
Yeah, he really was. Really like George. And I know we were very heavy critical of him these past couple of games with America. But you're right, AJ. It looks like he's trying to leave the ghost of that final past against Monterrey in the past, trying to rise up like a phoenix from the ashes. And let's hope so. If he can get the best out of George, then I think slowly but surely we'll start seeing the best out of everyone else. But yeah, good to see George. Santi, let's talk about him a little bit because I know some people were asking as to whether or not we thought he had a good game. I quite liked him.
I liked him too. I think he was, he played with a lot of passion, a lot of grit, which is something that a player in his position needs to do. And just his game sense is pretty remarkable actually for his age. Just knowing when the right time to tackle, when the right time to step in most cases was actually pretty well to me. And it looked good. So I like that he feels that he's in a competition with Pedro Aquino for that spot because he truly feels that he can be a starter on this team. And that's what you want to see in a youngster, obviously. Everyone knows that Pedro Aquino will most likely be the starter at that position, but it's good to see that a kid like him is not backing down from the challenge and just proving to Solari and to us that he is a player, he's a serious player, and when needed, he will show up and answer the call.
Yeah, he definitely was playing with the courage and determination of a player that just got his head shaved. He definitely looked very promising. The key thing is for him to consistently showcase that. And the hardest thing about this is, like you mentioned, Christian, I don't think that he's necessarily going to be getting much minutes this season. Can there be a moment where we see a Pedro Aquino and a Santi Naveda? I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibilities, by no means necessary, but I don't feel like that's really going to be the case. So, he's going to have to be patient. He will get more minutes. He will get more time. Look, there's abundance of games coming up for America this year, whilst it doesn't look like that because of the whole COVID situation. But I mean, you have to look kind of a little bit on the horizon, knowing that there's going to be CONCACAF champions coming up as well. So there's going to be a competition. There's going to be plenty of game time to go around. And knowing how the league likes to squeeze games in so tight and give us such a quick turnaround, I'm sure that there'll be moments where he will get some minutes. And if you can display that same type of, kind of very good center defensive mid qualities that he did against Monterrey, which is no easy team to do by any means, but I think we have someone good on our hands here.
Definitely. So I'm excited to see his growth.
Definitely. Alrighty then. Let's not drag this game out any longer than it has to be. Let's just kind of give a quick little recap at the end of the day. Obviously, America ends up losing this 1-0. I mean, we can sit here and talk about an abundance of things that went wrong, like the Cordoba stuff situation, but I think everyone's already over that. Or the referee that came out a couple days later saying like, yeah, that wasn't really a penalty, should have never been a penalty. But I mean, we could sit here and argue all day as to what's a penalty or not nowadays, But just give me kind of your overall thoughts. And were you as frustrated as you actually thought you were at the end of the day? Because I'll tell you this much: whilst the result didn't go in the way that I wanted it to go, I wasn't really mad at the fact that we lost. It was more of a, man, I'm mad that we didn't play the system that we played in the first game. If that makes any sense.
No, yeah, I'm totally with you there, and it just sucks because I really do think that with that 4-4-3, we kind of probably did a little better than what we showed. So hopefully he goes back to that on Saturday night.
Definitely, AJ.
Yeah, no, just disappointing overall. Like, am I really angry? Not as much as I really thought it was after the game. It's just unfortunate. A loss is a loss. We move on at this point. So
definitely, I want to address this comment real quickly before we jump on to the next segment. It is, I am Rich, and I'm not gonna say the last part. It's y'all ain't talking enough about Benedetti, and
That's
you're right, we're not.
That's my boy.
Because Christian, I think you can attest to this. He hasn't really had much more time for us to talk about him. He hasn't really had an impact. I mean, yes, he had the chance to win it for us. Tie for us at the end, but I want to see him play more before we can actually make a fair assessment of him, because I think the case with Benedetti has always been we're rushing him into this, and I don't want to rush to get to him. I think he has to come at a good time, at a good pace, and maybe against Juarez might be the day.
Maybe. You never know.
You never know. But all right, then, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on into our next segment. And before we get there, I do want to remind you guys that today's episode is brought to you guys by Foot Cult. If you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys go check Foot Cult out, whether it's on Twitter, Instagram. Now they have a Facebook as well, or check their online store at going over to footcult.com. You guys can get anything that you guys like over there. Go to checkout, use the discount code EEP to get 10% off. Again, use the discount code EEP at checkout to get 10% off. You guys can get some beautiful training kits like the one we have right now, and some more amazing Eagle Eye podcast merchandise coming your guys' way. Huge year for us over at Foot Cult, and we can't wait to show you guys what we have cooking with them. Alrighty then. Again, thank you to our sponsors for making this possible. Okay, gentlemen, before we talk about FC Juarez and the game at the Estadio Azteca for Saturday, let's talk about transfers. Christian, am I in the right to think that a certain Rojas is going to come to America from Racing, or am I just blowing all smoke and I should just, as always, go back to crying because we're not going to get a winger?
Right. Well, let's talk. So we'll start with that because you obviously brought it up. A rumor surged a couple of days ago that Rojas from Racing would be coming to Copa America. After further looking into it, it doesn't seem possible. I think it's just a little bit of smoke, only because the rumor of Roger Martinez going to Racing emerged as well. And while that one is real, it doesn't seem possible due to his wages. So they're trying to work around that. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to come to an agreement. The wages are way too much, and that league isn't as rich as people think it is. So
it's not, because he still owes money.
Exactly. So both of those will kind of leave at the 10% mark that of happening. So don't get your hopes up of Roger leaving, and don't get your hopes up on Rojas coming. The one that I do want to talk about of great interest, because this one I think I bumped up to probably 60%, is Ibargüen going to the MLS. What team? A team that I think we're very familiar with, that once took another Colombian from us in Darwin Quintero. Minnesota United seems to be knocking on the door for Ibargüen. Once again, though, the problem here are his wages. Even as a rich league like the MLS, it seems that Ibargüen's wages are a little bit too high for for quality of his player. So they're trying to work around that. Ibargüen doesn't want to go if he doesn't get the wages that he wants, and with his right, because he still has more time on his contract with America. So, it's just it could work either or for him. America wants to get rid of him because they don't want to lose him on the free very soon. So if they can get, even if they do sell him and it's at a loss, at least they get something back. So that's the way they're looking at it. But it seems like things are moving along slowly, very slowly. But if anyone were to leave America, it would be Ibargüen first on the list. And from being to a 40%, I bumped it up to a 60%. We'll see how this move progresses along the days, but seems like it's going well. It's just Ibargüen's stalling just because of the wages for right now. So hopefully that gets resolved soon, and Ibargüen is shipped off, like I think majority of the America fan base would like.
Yeah, you know what it sounds like? It sounds like Minnesota United wants to get that. I was gonna say that wants to get Andres Ibargüen on TAM money. I don't think they want to make him a DP.
I don't think so either. Yeah, I know it's a little bit complicated.
Which rightfully so. He's not a DP worthy player. Let's be honest.
He's not a DP. No, he's not a DP worthy player, and I think Minnesota knows that, and that's why they're trying to give him something that is it helps him, but also helps the club as well, because they are looking to make other moves. I've been told. So but things are going. They're advancing. It's not like they're stalled or anything. They are moving along. It's just it's a little bit back and forth between Ibargüen and the club. America definitely agrees to the move. They have no problem with it. United's offering, Minnesota United, not Manchester or any other United in the world. Minnesota United.
God, no, I hope not.
Minnesota United is whatever they're offering. America seems to be content with it. It's just now Ibargüen and the yes of the wages. So we'll see. Hopefully we have more news in the coming days. And like Ivan said, we still have I think about a week and a half left of the window. So anything can happen, and hoping for another edition actually for America, and hopefully it does come true, because we do know if Ibargüen does get sold, the first one to come in is Nico Castillo, and that's what they want to do. They want to register Nico Castillo, but they need to sell either or Ibargüen or Roger, and it seems like Ibargüen will be the one. So hopefully happens.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the window to register a player is coming to a close really quickly, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But there are a few loopholes that America can pull to get Castillo. It's just they need to sell Ibargüen first to kind of do that. But I have full faith that they will register Nico Castillo for this season.
Interesting. I know AJ, you're against that, but we've had our discussions already. I think at the end of the day, America's gonna do what America wants to do. And at the end of the day, let's not. If the transfer window comes to an end and Ibargüen and or Roger are still here, don't think it's the end of the world, because I do think the MLS transfer window doesn't really technically close on the same time as January, correct? I think that it's extended, or at least that they have another window. I don't know. MLS is tricky. All I'm saying is that if they're still here and Minnesota United still want to get the deal done, there will be more time for them to get the deal done, is what I'm saying. So I'm with you there, Christian. I do think that he's leaving. I hope it is for Minnesota United. Not because I'm a Minnesota United fan or anything, or I wish anything bad upon them, because if you're getting about one, you should know what you're getting yourself into. But he needs to be offloaded soon. The interesting thing is the Roger situation, if you ask me. I mean, not real much traction going there, No.
And obviously Roger made it clear from the start. I stay in America or I go to Europe. That's kind of his thing. It's just that Racing just kind of just came out of nowhere and said, we need a player of his caliber. And we're looking at him. It's just Roger doesn't really see the eyes to go into Argentina right now. Also, I don't think there's any way they can match his wages. Their wages are way too high for a club like that. So we'll see what happens though. I'm not losing faith much, I guess. I mean, I'm giving it 10%. I don't really think it already. I don't really think it goes further than that. But yeah, we'll see what happens though. But he almost had the assist for the tying goal.
He almost did, and we almost were about to build a statue of him because of that. But
take him over to Red Bulls, please. We're just offloading players for money at this point. Royer, please come to the Red Bulls. I would like that. Score some goals. You play at 4 because we have a forward problem. So he could play right there and score goals for us. Thank you.
I think he'd love it in Jersey. I really do think he'd love it in Jersey. But hey, we can't speak for him. He's got to speak for himself at this point. One last bit of news I want to talk about in regards to everything going on in and around Coapa right now before we jump on into the Juarez game is these COVID cases that came out in Monterrey. So it turns out that Funes Mori and I think another player, correct, from Monterrey tested positive. And then
don't they have 17 cases positive?
Yeah, they have
already?
17 cases in total. A couple from the youth players that played against America as well, and then some of the staff. It's just a whole mess. What is going on down in Monterrey? The point is, I think America might see a little bit of that go against them because tests have been made. Results will be back most likely tomorrow, I would imagine.
Okay. But my thing is though, did Monterrey know?
I don't know. I think there should be an investigation going into this because if Monterrey knew ahead of this, I'm not saying give us the points or anything. I don't care about that. I'm saying do something, find them, take points away from them. Don't give them to us. Just take points. Do something.
You're risking life. You're risking people's health right there. 100%. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no. I mean, the league itself is risking all these players' lives by letting us play in the middle of a pandemic, but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the fact that, if a club knew ahead, we're like, you know what? Well, we still got to go play a game, Let's go out there, boys, and let's teach these Águilas a lesson. And if we lose, well, at least we gave them COVID.
That's terrible. It doesn't help when I'm reading this article right now. He had players like Funes Mori, Aviles Hurtado, Akeloba, Cesar Montes, and Maxi Mesa. They all present symptoms of COVID. I'm like, that's definitely not good to hear that. That's really bad. How do you just let them do that? That goes as the question. Did Rayados know? Yeah, they're showing symptoms of COVID. Forget it. We're just letting them play. What's the worst that could possibly happen besides an entire squad getting infected with COVID?
No, definitely.
Seriously. I think Chris was saying, isn't the league in control of that though? Shouldn't America sue the league? I think the league is in charge on some certain. I don't think that. I think that club has their own tests that they have to do, and then I think the league demands some test as well. It's not I think the clubs might test almost every other day because I think I was hearing one of the America Femenil players talk about in her YouTube video. That was kind of more of a constant thing. I don't know if the league is requiring them to do that so often, or they're just only requiring them to submit testing on a certain day for a certain match, which is an interesting thing that we should definitely look into. But I'm
pretty sure they get tested. Well, if our game's on Saturday, they get tested on
Friday,
on Wednesday for Thursday.
Yes.
Is that how it is, or Thursday for Friday?
I think it would be Thursday for Friday because on Friday, that's usually when we have that magical tweet of, hey, these tests were submitted. None of them came out positive.
Right. Okay. So that means America will have 2 COVID tests administered this week. One for the Monterrey situation, then they'll have to do it again for Juarez.
Mm-hmm.
So if they got tested today, which is a Tuesday, they get the results tomorrow. Then they would get tested again on Thursday.
Yeah. All I'm saying is we might have half of the squad out, and we can't even use the Fuerzas Básicas because those guys are also out on COVID. So basically, what I'm saying, boys, is get your cleats ready. We're suit up. It's about our turn. It's about our turn to go defend.
What if we send the U17 out there?
Yo, let's go.
I think some of them got some cases as well. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it ranged from all of the youth level all the way to the senior one.
Oh wow. Okay, look at that.
So that's what I'm saying. Suit up, boys. It's time. We knew the day was gonna come. Stretch those hammies. We should be ready to go.
But all jokes aside, though, I really hope this doesn't turn into something that something big. And if Monterrey did know, I think that's very irresponsible of them, and they should receive a fine or some sort of penalty because that's
punishment.
That's very unprofessional, and it should never occur. So hopefully for America, no one tested positive, and everyone will be available for Saturday. Hopefully, we'll just have to wait, and we'll keep you guys definitely updated on our Twitter.
Definitely. So make sure you guys go follow us at EY Podcast over there, and we'll keep you guys up to date with everything, not just the COVID situation, but everything in and around the world of Las Águilas del América. Okay, let's wrap up the show and let's talk and let's preview the América versus FC Juarez match Saturday night at the Estadio Azteca, 7 p.m. Pacific time, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Of course, you guys can catch that game live via TUDN or through our Twitter, as we'll be live tweeting all that game. AJ is going to have you guys covered for that one, so it should be an interesting one. All right, gentlemen, we're coming into this one a little bit skeptical of not just what players we're going to have available, but what system are we going to go to? Are we going to fall back to that 4-3-3 because we're at home and because, again, no disrespect to FC Juarez, this is a much weaker opponent compared to Monterrey? Or are we still going to see maybe that inverted 4-4-2 situation? Christian, I'm curious to hear not only your thoughts in regards to the formation, but your starting 11 for this game.
Yeah, so I hope he goes with the 4-3-3. I think that we saw good things. I think both of you guys can agree with me that we saw really good things when America was playing in that 4-3 against Atletico San Luis. And like you said, Ivan, no disrespect to FC Juarez, but I really think this is an easier game than what we played last Saturday. And it's just a game to kind of, just test it again and see where we can improve on the formation. Hoping that everyone will be there. My predicted lineup would be Guillermo Ochoa, Jorge Sanchez, Manuel Aguilera, Sebas Cáceres, Luis Fuentes, Santi Naveda, Richard Sanchez, Gio Dos Santos, Leo Suarez, and Lainez on the wings, and then Viñas should be our striker.
So you're not putting Pedro Aquino in this one?
No, he won't be available for this game.
Still?
Yeah, still.
Oh, that's right. He said he was going to be out for 15 days, right?
Correct.
Oh, man. And it's already been 5. So, yeah. Definitely. Repeat that again, AJ. It's very much pain. Mm-hmm. But, hey, there we go. Talking about those chances for Naveda. Here they are. I like it, though. The 4-3-3, it's an interesting one. AJ, I'm curious. What are your thoughts on this?
I'm done with this. We get to see Emma back in the starting line. That's good. See if we can get a free kick, scores a goal from free kick like he usually does, or a penalty happens. Santi Naveda gets to start again. He essentially gets a second chance. Who knows? Next thing you know, he becomes the next Genaro Gattuso on this team. So that'll be some good stuff to see.
AJ, I'm just curious. Are you a huge AC Milan fan?
Of course, that legendary squad they have back. Oh my goodness, they're one of the best in the world at that time. World football.
No one can argue against that.
Indeed, but no, and then just here in the 4-3-3, it worked well against San Luis. Yes, we had a mistake that was only off of a set piece, but other than that, I'm down with this. So I can get something with this like did against San Luis. We expect the same result against FC Juarez.
I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting one. I here's the things that I do like about this formation. It's not Aguilera because I would continuously like to see Fuentes and Sebastián Cáceres. I think they can definitely take on a Juarez. I'm sure that they can do a job there. I like the Gio. I like Gio back in this lineup. I like him in that cam position. We saw some really good things against Atletico San Luis from Gio, and I think that putting him in this situation again, because again against Monterrey he came in, but it was on the wings, which I think was not a good idea for Gio at all. But having him here in this situation where you put him in the cam, he's going to be the creative player. He's going to be the one making those plays. He's going to feel more comfortable. I think it's going to look good. I think that might just pay even more dividends for a player like Viñas. We know that he's in a goal drought. He needs to back some goals. I would even go as far as to say is that if there is a penalty, I would give it to Viñas. So I think that this is looking promising. I like Lainez. I like Juarez. Excuse me, I don't like Juarez. I like Suarez. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think Leo has to step up big. He was very much non-existent against Monterrey, but it's the same way that you said it, Christian, that he was very much pinched in the mid to kind of be more in the midfield, and he's more of a let me be literally by the touchline so I can start making my dribbles happen. So,
and he was doing it well against San Luis.
He was very much well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean.
So hopefully he goes back to that.
Hopefully. But okay, let's go with the assumption that we go back to the 4-3-3, that we come out with this formation. What do you want to see America do? Right? What from your guys' perspective, what does America have to do in order to kind of erase a little bit of what happened in Monterrey and again give us that glimmer of hope back again?
No, definitely. I think they got to work the touch lines, and when they do that, I want them to kind of open up space and try to get behind the line, and they were doing it pretty well on the side of Leo Suarez and Jorge Sanchez, and with Jorge Sanchez being back, he had a great game against Monterrey, so hopefully he can continue that form, and Suarez can go back to the position he was playing in the first game, and hopefully create some magic on that side. But that it can't just happen on one side, because then that becomes too predictable after a few connect chances. Has to happen on both sides, and that's why I need Luis Fuentes to kind of step up on this offensive game and really start having an impact. Mauro Lainez, I need to see a little bit more from him. While AJ thinks he did things well in the first game, we need to build on that and gain more confidence. And just understand the idea a little bit better. And Giovanni Dos Santos, I think when he came in against Monterrey, he really didn't have that much of an impact. Hopefully he can turn it around and have a good game like he did in the first 45 against San Luis. And look for him to kind of be the one to kind of pick up the passes, because he almost had a pretty assist in the first game to Mauro Lainez. And it's just plays like that can really, make or break a game. And when you have streaky players like Lainez and Suarez coming down the wings, you never know what can happen with open space. So definitely work the open space. Passing needs to be precise and do it in the compact situation like you were doing.
Yeah, stop being scared to make a pass.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You get open up for one another. You have 4 players in within 15 feet of each other. You can make the pass, open up, and just work the space. And I think that we can have a good game like that.
I like it. AJ?
Attack, 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 please. We cannot be scared just like we did against Monterrey, because that was just completely dreadful and just boring football. If that's how we're going to play it throughout the rest of the season like that, there isn't going to be much hope really in games of the Liguilla. That is if we do make it, if we happen to play like that. But no, just show no fear. Look what they did against San Luis. That was an America side where people could say, wow, this is what the team can bring in this season and what we haven't seen in the past couple games. That's amazing. That's what we like to see. Go up front. Do not be scared. The wingers go up front. Don't think a second if you think you need to dribble in or cross. You can cross. If you can cut in. Go for a shot. Go for the shot. And by all means, help Viñas out. He is going out right now, and he's losing some kind of confidence at this point. If the wingers or midfielders can provide any kind of through ball or cross to Viñas, and Viñas gets on that one-on-one, it's over for that goalkeeper. I'm pretty sure Viñas can finish it. We need to get everyone in. They got to get their mojo back in and get themselves a good flow throughout the rest of this game. It was a tough game against Monterrey. That's in the past now. How we move forward. Playing against FC Juarez, this is the way to get pick up confidence and get a rhythm going, and just for everyone to just be in sync and just get themselves some goals out there and get the 3 points they need.
I'm with you there, AJ, and I want to say 3 things here. One, I want to show this from Ivan. He's saying in regards to the way that America needs to play, control the tempo, play side to side, play quick, play like you mentioned, AJ, forward, go on the attacking. I think that's very important. And here's a question: do you think Roger will make a second straight appearance bearing positive COVID cases / injuries from Jerry? Ramon Acosta answers that for us, says, I hope not, Jerry. And I think we're all with Ramon there. I hope not, Jerry. I really hope that Roger doesn't have to make more second appearances here and there. But
I think he will.
Yeah, the most likely answer is that he will most likely make an appearance. I think that it's fair to say that I think it's fair to say Ibargüen's going to be the one heading to the tribuna for this one. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing. And in regards to the way that America needs to go out there and play their game, I want to see an explosive America side. I know that Ivan said play side to side, but I want them to be not so much lateral, but a little bit more vertical in the sense of playing side to side. There's just got to be some more aggressiveness to this America side. And the most important thing, Christian, I think you mentioned it. We had a very good promising 45 minutes against San Luis. Let's try to stretch that and make it 60, 70 consistent minutes of really good football, right? I'm not saying give me a full 90 because we're not there yet by any means necessary. 3 games into the season, new manager, with the little bit of time we've had, asking for 90 minutes would be like, I don't know, asking for the queen to fly at that point. Like, you're just not going to get it, right? So let's just be a little bit more tempered with the expectations. 60 to 70 minutes is exactly where we want to see America play. And hopefully the best player on the pitch is not going to have to be our goalkeeper for us to win this game.
No, definitely. And while Solari said he had no problem with that, it's just we need to see improvement within the team that they're starting to grasp the idea. And while Ivan said, okay, maybe not Fernando, but give me 60 minutes that you're starting to grasp the idea and you're starting to understand what Solari wants to do. Just give me that at least, but also a W because I like to see W. But definitely,
Yes.
an improvement in the playing style because Solari said in the press conference that the players know that they didn't play well. The players know that they should be disappointed, and they all were. So just more from the squad in terms of buying into the idea and just improving the play style, and then hopefully little by little we can do, because we have a couple of nice games where we can really help us improve our playing style.
Definitely. Alrighty then. Let's talk predictions, and then we'll talk a bit of third kit jerseys as well, because we didn't mention them, but for a reason. I'll tell you guys why in just a second. Okay, prediction time. Here we go. AJ, what is your prediction?
3-0.
All right. AJ going with a 3-0. Christian, what is your prediction?
2-0.
2-0. I'm going with a 3-1 victory for America. I know it breaks my heart to say that we're not going to get a clean sheet, but something about Lescano, I just know that he's going to find a way to freaking bag a goal against us, and it's going to break my heart because I really do want us to consistently keep getting clean sheets. But it also warms my heart that for the first time, AJ and Christian have said we're going to get a clean sheet. So maybe there's still hope for me out there. Let us know in the comment section. What do you guys think the scoreline result is going to be? We'll talk and we'll share them in just a second. Gentlemen, I mentioned third kit, new launch just yesterday. Quick thoughts about it, because I could not have. I just loved it. It was awesome.
No, I love it too. I think it's one of the better ones we've come out with in recent years, and it's gonna. I hope we wear it on Saturday because I want to see it in action. But definitely a beautiful kit.
AJ.
Really beautiful. I remember seeing Ochoa wearing that, or I see a bunch of my friends from La Monumental in New York. They have those kind of jerseys. I'm like, that looks really cool, and that just getting to style for the first time. I'd cop that jersey. It's pretty.
Oh man, it's a beauty. I had to get it right away. But here is my question. Obviously, Caballero Aguilar first introduced back in 2008. It was actually a Ochoa design that he collaborated with Nike, and now it was brought back in a more kind of modernized version for 2021. Do you think the right thing to do would be for Ochoa to wear it first on Saturday, and then we have another game where the whole team can wear it? Or do you think that the whole team's just going to wear it and Ochoa has to be the one player that does not wear it because, it is his original creation?
Man, I feel like Ochoa should be the one wearing the jersey, because for me it'd be special because I finally see Ochoa very first time. I never got to see all the amazing things he did back then with the team and get to see him play in that jersey that was originally designed essentially for him, the one he created. That'd be cool. I'd like to see Ochoa be given the honor to just wear that same jersey he wore in 08, if I'm not mistaken, and just wear that again now. So I feel like Ochoa should definitely be wearing that jersey first.
Christian?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Your obsession with Ochoa being the only one to wear this is a little weird to me.
Come on, I make a pretty good argument. That is literally his design, and it was brought back. Look, listen to this. 13 years later, he wears number 13. All of it just coincides perfectly for him to be the one to wear this. I'm not saying none of the players can ever wear the jersey. Of course not. It's our third kid. Let them have a go at it. It's not the first time that you ever see a goalkeeper wearing a third alternative kid as their own. I think Ochoa's going to be in the past.
Did they make one for him? Or is he going to stick with the usual one that he has?
I think he would. Yeah, he would. I don't know.
Man.
Point is, look, I'm saying that Ochoa should be the first one to wear it, and then let the rest of the team go. I don't know, but you're right, Christian. They should have made one specifically just for the goalkeeper, because everyone's gonna be out there wearing there, and this is gonna be like Ochoa's gonna be all sad because he's got to wear this regular freaking red one. He's just
if they had a black one like this for him, that'd be dope too.
It would be. I just. Come on, Nike, give me something here. But all I'm saying is expect the third kit to be used on Saturday against Juarez.
Yeah,
it's the perfect rival because the color kit wouldn't clash. They could still wear their green one, and us wearing the white one, I don't think it would clash in any way. Again, though, fingers crossed that Ochoa gets to wear his. But yeah, let's read a couple of the results here from some of our listeners, and then we'll wrap it up. Ivan going with a 2-1 victory for Las Águilas del América. Jose Sepulveda going with a 2-0 victory. I like it. More clean sheets, the better. We're going with Chris saying with a 4-3-3, I say 2-1. If not, I say 1-0. Okay.
That's fine.
That pretty much
as long as I see improvement in the playing style, I'll take a 1-0.
Yes. As long as we see something promising,
Definitely.
I don't know. But point is, that pretty much wraps it up for us. Gentlemen, anything else to add on?
Just thank you everyone for coming out. Very active chat today. That's what me, the whole guys want to see, and it just means a lot that we have people that come sit with us for an hour and talk about America. It's definitely favorite time of the week, and hopefully we get to keep doing this for a very long time. So thank you guys.
No, yeah, definitely. Really look forward to it. I was really excited about coming on today. I was really pumped. We got to talk a lot of America stuff. Got to talk a little bit of Lakers. That always warms my heart. AJ?
It makes me feel better about losing $100 now. So
very much so. But okay, that pretty much wraps it up. AJ, any last words, or we're good to go?
I'm good to go.
Alrighty then. Well, we'll be back on Thursday to talk all things Lady Aguila, and we'll talk about that horrific win against FC Juarez. And AJ will have more on that in regards to everything going on in and around the world of Lady Aguilas in Coapa. So make sure you guys come back on Thursday. We'd love to have you guys be here, and we can talk just as much as we did on this chat. So again, thank you so much to everyone listening out there, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever it is that you may listen. Thank you again. And yeah, that does it for us. We'll be back, like I mentioned, on Thursday for ladies, back next week to talk all things FC Juarez against America, and then we'll look forward into the next matchup and all the latest rumors and news regarding the team. All right, gentlemen, you guys have a wonderful night. Everyone out there, stay safe, please. We'll see you guys again. All in all, really much. Thank you so much for the support again to our sponsors, Foot Cult, and everyone out there. Hope you guys have a wonderful evening and a great, amazing weekend. All right. With that said, take care. Until next time, as always, Arriba la América. Good night.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was another production of the Eagle Eye Podcast, the #1 source for all things Club America in English. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eagle Eye Podcast and get all the latest news and coverage. And subscribe to our podcast wherever it is you may listen.